What is Imbolc? And let's talk a bit about the Celtic influence of Imbolc on the Christian Festival of Candlemas. That's what we're going to dive into today. Welcome, I'm Kim Marie, and this channel is all about supporting women to step into their most empowered self so they can live their most fulfilling life. We're going to dive into what is Imbolc, talk about some of its traditions. We're going to also speak about how the Celtic Festival of Imbolc is influencing the Christian Feast of Candlemas, and also look at some modern ways of celebrating Imbolc as we step into this turning of the wheel yet again. So Imbolc happens at the beginning of February. February 2nd, February 1st and 2nd is usually the dates. Interestingly, it corresponds to our American Groundhog's Day and the Feast of Candlemas in the Christian church. It is considered the beginning of spring. It is the turning of the wheel, the cross-quarter festival between the December solstice, the winter solstice, and the spring equinox. Now, that's northern hemisphere. Of course, it would be summer solstice and autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. But this is the date when we get to celebrate this beautiful festival that honors the quickening of the seed. There's a beginning of spring. Many people think that the seasons start on the quarter festivals when we have the solstices and equinoxes, but it's these cross-quarter festivals that really honor and represent the beginning of these seasons. And so Imbolc is a celebration of the beginning of the season of spring. Now, the Celts celebrated the festival of Imbolc with fire and honoring the goddess Brigid. It was thought that the Cailleach, who is the goddess of the winter, or the archetype for the winter, the old wise woman, would shift and transform into the young maiden Brigid for the springtime. And it's kind of like we have this overseeing of the goddess in the different seasons. And this would be the celebration around Imbolc. There was a concept of newness and purification and new light and emergence. Now, this is very much related to Candlemas, because Candlemas in the Christian tradition is when the baby Jesus was presented in the temple 40 days after his birth. And there were a lot of traditions around women shouldn't leave the house for 40 days after birthing a child. The child should be protected for those 40 days. But there was also an aspect of waiting to be ready to be presented to life and to God in that way. Often during Candlemas, candles are blessed and used to burn in the church and in the home throughout the year. And this idea of the purification, this renewal, this new light, this new life is preserved in the Christian tradition with Candlemas, largely influenced, as so many Christian traditions are, by the pagan festivals or Celtic festivals, Gaelic festivals of these older festivals of cross-quarter and quarterly gatherings and traditions. Now, in modern times, many of us don't even acknowledge or celebrate Candlemas or Imbolc. And I really invite you to consider, what does it feel like? I find Imbolc to be one of the most powerful symbols or seasonal turns in the wheel of my life, from the standpoint that there's a tremendous impatience that time of year for me. And I know many of my clients feel this way too. When we're having our coaching sessions, it's like, be done with winter already, get to it. People have kind of somewhat of a vision, but what happens more often than not is that there's that feeling inside, but we don't know exactly for what. We don't know exactly where we're going or where we're headed, what's next for us. But we can feel this urge to move, to do something. It's like we can't stand being in the hibernation mode of winter anymore. That's that quickening seed beneath the surface. So if we can honor Imbolc and honor that seed is quickening, and maybe come at it from a place of, I wonder, what magic might there be around the corner? We can honor it with candles and purification, and maybe do actions that that clear and cleanse and make way for this. Remember, if the seed is quickening under the earth, it's not ready to pierce the soil and see the light of day yet. It's just quickening. So it's got that little bit of movement. Maybe it's cracking open. Maybe it's coming undone. You might feel that way around this time. So honoring that time, connecting with the idea of new life, understanding that things do. The seed has to crack completely open in order to sprout and grow and renew into something new. And we are nature, so it's no different for us. We're going to feel that around this time of year. When I started paying attention to these quarterly and cross-quarterly festivals and honoring what was going on in nature, it made such a difference for my own sense of well-being, sense of peace, and sense of courage to persevere and keep going even when things feel difficult. It's not easy to feel like you're cracking open and coming undone in the complete dark under the soil, unable to see the light of day, right? If we look at that as a metaphor for our life, that might be what we're experiencing. You can also light candles and there are little crafts called Brigitte crosses. I encourage you to look them up, and you could maybe have a little crafting day of making these special symbols of the goddess Brigitte as a way of brightening your home, perhaps make a garland of them or some different ideas to brighten up and welcome the spring and open yourself to the spring. And of course, lots of people like to dive into things like spring cleaning or maybe do a spring fast. Any of those kinds of things are a beautiful way to celebrate Imbolc in our modern times, in addition to gathering and really turning yourself toward how it's expressing within you. I hope that offers you some guidance and basic tips about what Imbolc is about, how it relates to the Festival and Feast of Candlemas. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I love hearing from you. Be sure to subscribe, let others know about this channel, like it. It really helps the channel when you do that for me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.